People with multiple pets. What is some drama going on between them right now? 1. The cat desperately wants to play with the dog. Dog, who played with our last cat like best friends, absolutely refuses to have anything to do with her. It makes me sad. I feel bad for both of them. My dog always just adored my sister's dog, and for 10 years we had them in the house together. My dog would whine, and beg, and claw the ground, and bring toys to my sister's dog. And my sister's dog would not even look at my dog, going as far as to sit in the corner of the room and stare at the wall. Least the cats loved looking after my dog. Anytime she would go outside to the bathroom, my cat, my brother's cat, would follow her and watch over her. Was so cute. 2. I have a cat and chickens. One of my chickens chased my cat yesterday and now she's hiding in my room. Yes, you actually only have chickens. 3. My ducks are so dramatic about sharing their pools. I have 3 ducks in 2 pools. 1 green, 1 pink. All 3 have decided the pink pool is their favorite and fight over who gets to be in it. They all 3 can fit comfortably in 1 pool, but they chase each other out and fight about who gets to be the only one in there. It's hilarious to watch. This spring, I'm buying new pools. 3 all pink ones, lol. They also bully the wild birds and squirrels. And when they hear the neighborhood dogs start barking, they run to the back fence and start quacking really loud. 4. We have a new foster dog who is terrified of the world and everything in it. She's been cowering in the corner of the kitchen for days, but she's just now getting brave enough to start coming out to solicit attention. Our resident dog is jealous, so she keeps coming over to try to steal the attention. The foster dog loves the resident dog and seems to get braver when she's around, so that makes her more willing to come out. So resident dog's jealousy is accidentally feeding the bravery and socialization of the foster. She doesn't realize it, but that's exactly what we were hoping would happen. 5. 2 cats and a hedgehog. The cats are in disbelief that the hedgehog not only eats dry cat food as her diet, the audacity, but also that she gets a heat lamp and they don't. They are likely plotting a revolt. 6. We have 2 donkeys. Geriatric donkey and chonky donkey. Chonky has separation anxiety and freaks if she can't eat geriatric donkey. Geriatric donkey is too skinny and on a special high-protein diet. Chonky donkey is, well, chonky, and is on a diet, which she hates, but is looking much better to keep chonky donkey out of geriatric donkey's food. I have to separate them. Now chonky donkey is upset to be separated from geriatric and upset she can't steal geriatric's much yummier food. Upset donkeys are loud. 7. My horses who are BFFs got a new buddy. Buddy likes both horses. Horse 1 likes Buddy. Horse 2 does not. So now original 2 horses are in a rough patch in their friendship. Feels like a cliche issue between high school girls. I worked at a summer horse camp during college. Our horses were so dramatic that one year we made up a list of which horse was which stereotype. For example, the athletic girl, the nerd, the jock, the airhead, the head cheerleader, the academic try-hard, chess club, drama club, the teacher's pet, the girl who became pretty over summer break but doesn't know how to handle the attention, etc. It was a lot of fun and so accurate. Which one was the horse girl? Ironically, the donkey. Our small herd of 8 has to be separated into 3 or 4 separate groups. Like, 8 horses should be able to be in a single herd, right? Nope. My mare is boss in her field. Her BF is super insecure. I think it's because he's half her size, but I'm not sure, and he'll kick at any other boy who comes near her. He has 2 badly injured legs already, and if he were to land something, he might injure himself beyond repair. He's already a pasture puff, so we're talking life-ending injury for him, and obviously the risk to the horse he would be kicking. Not worth it. So those 2 lovebirds have their own paddock. The next group is the rest of the mares, 3 of them, one of whom is a real militant man-hater. If the geldings get too close to her, she tries to attack. One of her paddock mates is a stately, dignified older lady who would be really stressed by the upheaval the drama queen would kick up if she were forced to spend time with the key boys. As a result, those 3 mares have their own paddock. That leaves 2 geldings and a gelding pony. We call the 2 geldings cellmates because while they tolerate each other, there's not a lot of love there. Lol. In the winter, the pony goes out with them. In the summer, the pony has to be on his own in a dry lot. Don't worry, he has horsey friends right beside him, but his history of founder makes it so he can't have a lot of grass. 8. My flock of chickens is very dedicated to my rooster and obeys his every command, with the exception of one hen named Vicky. She doesn't give a fuck about him and only wants to hang out with us humans. She follows us around and is just super friendly and cute and chatty, and of course, we spoil her with delicious treats all day. When I weed the garden, she's right behind me, scratching up the soil like she's helping me lol and eating all the newly exposed bugs. She'll walk up to us, look up, and say hem, like she's asking, "What's going on?" The other hens are always by the rooster's side, but she comes and goes as she pleases. Rooster can't stand it. He does everything he can to get her attention, like making the "I found food" call, and picking up a random pebble to pretend it's a treat he found. She figured out this ruse very quickly. If she starts to run toward us, he'll run ahead of her, stand in her way, and stomp his little rooster feet. She just runs past him. He gets especially mad when she's late coming back to the coop at the end of the day because she's hanging out with us, and he tries to herd her back over to it. She doesn't give a fuck and just sits on the porch with us, and we all watch and run around screaming and having a fit because she doesn't want to go to bed yet. It's hilarious. Somehow she's still like number 2 in the pecking order though. She's an alpha chicken. 9. We only have the one Great Dane, but there is currently a mouse in the house. The drama of catching said mouse lasted until 5 a.m. this morning. Doggo thinks himself a great hunter, but his real superpower is barking and bunny hopping across the hardwood floor. The mouse still lives and we're all exhausted today. My standard schnauzer had the desire to hunt mice, but couldn't go under furniture to get them. So, Rue, my roommate's tiny chihuahua, would catch them and give them to Pepper to eat. And then there was the night Rue treated a baby raccoon in a little tree on our patio, while the mother hung from the fence growling and Pepper went ballistic. I thought he was going to get eaten for sure. 10. I've had a cat and a dog for the past 3 years, but outside of the first time they met, they never really interacted with each other. However now, for whatever reason, they occasionally play with each other, or at least attempt to. They haven't really figured out a rhythm for how this all works, and it often ends with the dog running away in terror, which probably pleases the cat, but at least they're trying. There's some mixed signals between the species when it comes to play and aggression. Not common for cats and dogs to be able to play, unless either one was brought up with a member of the other species. My cat and dog have both inherited that knowledge now. I had 3 cats. I got a puppy, who learned how to play from the cats. My ex-wife took the cats. Then I got a kitten, who was raised by the dog. Then my dog died, so I got a puppy who has now been raised by the cat that was raised by the dog that was raised by the cats. I have a girl cat that doesn't get along with her 2 younger brothers, who are peas in a pod. They chase her and she runs and hisses, absolutely terrified. We were at our wits' end because they aren't violent kitties except to her. Then we started watching her behavior more closely and noticed how she would play with them when she didn't think we were watching. Sit by them, show her belly, even groom them. As soon as she noticed we were in the room, she'd act like they attacked her, even if they hadn't done anything. Eye-opening for sure. 11. I have an Airedale Terrier, 4 ducks, 50 chickens, and 6 goats. The chickens should have their own soap opera. One of the most interesting conflicts is with Tim Allen, who is one of my hens who was born with a deformity called scissor beak. Basically, it's harder for her to eat, preen, etc., because her beak isn't lined up correctly, but she still manages. She's become my little buddy because of the help she needs, and she has her own section of the chicken run to eat without being bothered. Tim has the biggest balls out of all of my hens. If another hen so much as looks through the fence at her, and remember, I have 50 birds, so it happens all the time, she'll charge it and act all tough, because she's behind a fence. When I put her back in the run after she is done eating, she tries to be best friends with everyone and most of the birds walk away. She'll try to share a dust bath. Rejected. Group preening happening? Rejected. It's like she's 2 different birds depending on which section of the run she's in. That or she's come up with different rules in her head based off of where she is at the time. Either way, it's hilarious. Don't worry, she isn't lonely. She spends more than enough time with her human, and she also has a ragtag group of misfits that tend to accept her, even when she's being a dick. Chickens are so funny and can be very affectionate. If you have the room in your yard and in your heart, get some. Plus, fresh eggs are the bomb. 12. My cat has discovered my dog's bed, that he rarely uses, is bigger than hers. My dog has discovered she is using his neglected bed, and has now decided he must use it immediately when he sees her on it. He barks at her and boops her with his nose. She just gets even more comfortable and looks at him as if to say, "Yeah, right, kiddo. You know who's boss around here." 13. I have 2 cats and a snake. The snake is irrelevant to this story. My wife and I got Grim, 17 pounds, medium gray fur, the day Force Awakens came out. He was a tiny kitten then. He's been very happy being a solo cat, despite repeated assertions from the shelter that 2 cats were better. Our apartment situation at the time made that impossible. June of 22, on my wife and I's anniversary, we were driving down a back road when my wife shouts, "Kitty!" A black cat was laying on the road. Apparently, I almost ran him over. Now, my wife is very kind-hearted and loves cats. So we have a routine when we see a stray doing something dangerous out in the cold. I hop out, try to convince the cat to come over so we can take it to a shelter. It runs away. This is fine. I'll just scare the cat off the road and move on with our anniversary. His cat. He had other plans. I hop out of the car and he looks up, sees me, and pads over. Calm as can be. Lets me pick him up and put him in the back of the car. I drive over to the bar he was sitting in front of, ask if he's somebody's. Note that he's stick-thin, dirty, and looks near starvation. They say he's a stray that lives at the machine shop nearby. By the time I get back to the car, he's in my wife's lap, asleep. We're both a little worried he's going to die on the drive home. My wife is talking a big game about taking him to a shelter, but the only no-kill shelter in the area we live in will be closed by the time we can get there, and I know she'll regret letting him go away forever. So I suggest we call my little brother, whose fiancé also loves cats and who has a 15-year-old cat who, while healthy, is old. I assume he'll say no. They only have an apartment. We'll end up with the cat. He says yes. We get the cat fixed, vaccinated, and tested. They take the cat for a month, until he and the 15-year-old, who's probably 4 pounds smaller than him, get in a fight. The cat comes back to my basement. Now for the drama. New cat Sanaya, 12 lbs, long black fur, still growing so far as we can tell, has the guest room. He's pretty happy in there but likes to ramble and loves attention and being where people are. Grem does not like other cats. Grem doesn't like other people, he loves his people. Just not guests he hasn't seen at least a dozen times. Sanaya, on the other hand, loves everyone. And Grim. He's tried being submissive. He's tried being friendly. He wants to play. Grim wants none of this. Grim will hiss if Sanaya moves towards him, even through a grate. 3 times Sanaya has broken containment methods to try to see Grim. By which I mean 3 times Grim has deigned to leave his massive cat tower while Sanaya was out. Sanaya runs up. Grem flees. Sanaya chases. Grem decides it's time to fight, and piles of black Sanaya fur fly everywhere while Grim yowls as if he's being murdered, while winning the cat fight hard. If he'd stand his ground and say he's boss, he'd be fine. If Sanaya could acknowledge that his attention isn't wanted, and that the other cat has 5 pounds on him and can royally kick his ass, things would be fine. But Grim thinks it's life or death. He's terrified of a cat he could absolutely kick the ass of. Who he had kicked the ass of in the 10 seconds it's taken me to separate them. At this rate, it's going to take years before they work out an appropriate pecking order and just leave each other be. I'd love advice. They have plenty of food. They've been around each other a fair bit, but each with their own space. They get lots of attention. On the plus side, Grim has lost some tubs since Sanaya entered the home. He's still huge, but lanky huge. 14. My orange cat alternates between seeing my Zalo as his best friend and tasty prey. I've seen them cuddle happily and play with toys together. I have also seen the cat wake up, stretch, walk over to the sleeping Zalo just to smack him, and calmly go back to his sleeping spot. My German Shepherd has figured out how to take a bite of her water and hold it in her mouth. She will then find the sleeping cat and dump the water on the cat. The cat understandably hates this. My German Shepherd takes endless delight in this. I recently bought an AirTag for my keys because my Zalo had always been a kleptomaniac, and he has a new hiding spot I have yet to find.